Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm doing Caitlin's makeup and I'm going to be doing the look that I posted the other day on my Instagram. It's like a soft smoky with a little bit of shimmer on the lid, so if you want to see how I created that look then just keep on watching. I'm going to be taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Powder Duo in the shade Medium Brown and I'm just using that for her eyebrows. Then I'm going to be taking the P. Louise Eye Base in the shade Rumor, which is 02, and I'm just going to be using this to carve out underneath her eyebrows and then also pulling this down all onto the lid as well. Then I'm going to be taking the James Charles palette, and the first shade that I'm going to be taking is the 10% off color, and I'm focusing this on the outer corner of the eye. Then I'm going to be taking, to blend out those colours, I'm going to be taking a mixture of Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow in the shade Brick and Makeup Geek's Tan Lines, and I'm just using that to blend out the outer corner of 10% off, and then I'm also bringing it into the inner corner of her eye as well, just because I didn't want anything too dark going into the inner corner, as we're kind of keeping it as soft as possible. Just continuously going back in and kind of getting the colour payoff that I would like to. Then from the Be Perfect palette with Stacey Marie, I'm taking the shade Sinner, which is a highlighter, and I'm just applying this all over the lid. Then for a little bit of extra shimmer, I'm taking the NYX Professional Makeup Shimmer Down Pigment in the shade 05. This kind of dulls down the goldness of it and it kind of makes it a bit more neutral. Then for liner, I'm taking the Inglot Gel Liner in the shade 77, and when I'm doing a smoky liner, you can kind of just put this on quite roughly, it doesn't have to be super neat. Then I'm just taking the shade Spooky from the James Charles palette. I'm just using that to blend out the outer corner and smoke it out a little, and I'm also going to use this on an angled brush just to kind of smoke out that black liner as well. I do also take another flat brush and kind of smudge that out even more, as I wanted it to be like, yeah, super smoked out and soft. Then I'm taking Holy Grail lashes in the style Sugar. These are actually unfortunately discontinued now, which is super sad because they're honestly one of my favorite eyelashes, but she's trying to go all vegan, so that's understandable because they're mink ones. So then I'm taking the Benefit Matte Rescue Primer in the T-Zone, and I'm also taking the Laura Mercier Radiance Primer on the rest of the face just to make sure it's nice and hydrated. Then for foundation, I'm going to be taking the Too Faced Born This Way in the shade Light Beige, and I also added a tiny little bit of Snow into it as well, just to lighten it down slightly, just as her tan is natural. She was in Europe for like the European summer, so she did get a little bit of a tan, but it was slightly dying off a little bit, so didn't need to be full light beige, but didn't need to be the next shade down either. So just using a Dirty 30 sponge to dab this in. This is actually my first video back since I got back from England, so that is exciting. For concealer, I'm taking the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Custard and just blending this in with the small Dirty 30 sponge. Then to set under the eyes, I'm just going to be taking the Laura Mercier Translucent Powder, and I just really push that in onto the eyes. You don't need a lot, like I know a lot of people don't like baking as such, but I don't feel like this is baking because I don't put that much product under the eyes. I only put like the tiniest little bit just to make sure it's nicely set down, and any excess stuff I'll just brush off later on. Then I'm going to be taking the Bobbi Brown foundation stick in this, in the shade Cool Almond, and I'm using the Hourglass foundation brush for this now, and I'm actually obsessed with it. I feel like it really pushes into the skin nicer than a stippling brush, and it also gives a more flawless application because it is like a foundation brush and we're using a foundation to contour. Then I'm taking the Australis Fresh and Flawless powder in the shade Darkest Brown, of course one of my favorites, and I'm just using this to set the rest of her face. Then I'm taking the Hoola bronzer from Benefit, and I've got the extra large one, and honestly it's so good. I literally love the size of it. It's great. It's actually amazing. Then I'm taking MAC Give Me Sun just to bronze up and give it a little bit more of like a glow to the face. Just popping that around the same places that I put the Hoola bronzer as well. Then for blush, I'm taking the MAC Warm Soul Blush. This is just like a nice peachy sort of shade. And then I'm going to be taking the Dantisha, I don't know how you say it, in the shade Prom Queen. Now this looks like crazy pink, but it actually doesn't come out that pink, so it's really pretty. For highlighter, Oh Darling from MAC as per usual. Then under the eyes, I'm just taking the same three shades, that I used on the top. So starting off with the darker one, which is 10%, and then going in with the other two just to kind of lightly blend out, and then just adding a tiny little bit of black as well. Then I'm just using a brush just to blend out that P. Louise eye base, as I really like the looks to look really nice and blown out. So I just add a little bit of tan lines onto my brush and kind of bring that out towards the temple as well. Then just adding a bit of Hoola bronzer to the nose just to lightly contour. She doesn't need much, but it's just to give it a bit more colour back into it. Then for inner corner highlight, I'm taking the MAC Vanilla Pig. Then for lips, I'm taking the MAC Stripped Down Lip Pencil and the colour Yash as well. This is the final product. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye!
I stand